Have you ever wondered what happened to Australia's once famous seaside resorts? Beaches that were once buzzing with families, laughter, and the smell of salt and sunscreen are now quiet, some even abandoned. Oh, as international travel boomed and tastes changed, many of these coastal gems fell into disrepair. Today, they stand as ghostly reminders of their glamorous past, fondly remembered but rarely visited. From Double Island to Ceduna, these are the 13 seaside resorts that Aussies once loved but rarely visit today. Lindeman Island. Tucked away among the Whitsundays, Lindeman Island once promised tropical perfection, a pocket of paradise where Aussies could escape the mainland grind. In its heyday, it wasn't just another island getaway, it was the place to sip cocktails under palm trees, play beach volleyball, and watch the sun melt into the coral sea. But time and the elements had other plans. Cyclone Yasi struck in 2011, closing the island's famous Club Med, once the only one in Australia. What followed was a decade of stalled redevelopment dreams. Ownership changed hands from big-name investors to overseas buyers, each unveiling grand visions of 6-star luxury resorts that never quite materialised. Today, most of Lindeman Island sits quietly under the protection of the national park. The airstrip remains, the beaches still gleam, but the laughter and music of its resort days have long faded into the sea breeze. Lindeman stands as a haunting reminder that even paradise isn't immune to time, nature, or neglect. A once glittering Whitsunday gem, now resting in near silence. Great Keppel Island. Remember when Great Keppel Island was the place to get wrecked? In the 80s and 90s, this sun-soaked paradise off Yeppoon drew party lovers from all over Australia. But today, the island's once iconic resort sits behind fences, empty and overgrown, a ghost of its hedonistic past. A $600 million plan to rebuild the resort, complete with villas, a marina, and even a casino, has divided locals, pitted neighbours against each other, and dragged in everyone from traditional Wapabura owners to a herd of feral goats. Environmentalists want something small and sustainable. Developers dream of an eco-luxury future powered by solar panels. For now, visitors find a quieter charm. A few family-run lodges, a pizzeria, 17 perfect beaches, and sunsets that remind you why Aussies fell in love with Great Keppel in the first place. Maybe it doesn't need a casino to shine again, just a bit of peace. Double Island. Once the secret escape of Hollywood stars like Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, Double Island off Cairns was pure tropical fantasy. Private villas, turquoise water, and the kind of hush money can't buy. But today it's silent for all the wrong reasons. The resort lies in ruin, pools filled with sludge, pathways swallowed by weeds, and gates chained shut. Queensland's government has had enough. Premier David Crisafulli says it's time to use it or lose it. The Hong Kong-based developer, who once promised a luxury revival, now faces losing the lease altogether. After years of neglect, Double Island has become a symbol of what went wrong with island tourism. Big dreams, no delivery. Now, the state wants a new owner, not just another billionaire, but someone willing to restore it for Aussies, not lock it away. Maybe then, locals and visitors alike can return to the sands where the stars once walked and feel that old magic again. Brampton Island. There was a time when Brampton Island shimmered like a tropical dream, the kind of place families flew to for honeymoons, barbecues by the beach, and coral sunsets that made postcards jealous. But today, that dream has faded. The once bustling resort, sold to United Petroleum in 2010, now sits abandoned off the coast of Mackay, its pool filled with sand and silence. Once part of Queensland's golden age of island holidays, Brampton has joined a sad club of lost paradises, alongside Dunk, Lindeman and South Molly. Cyclones, neglect, and sky-high maintenance costs have left it all in ruin. Termites feast where tourists once danced, and the jetty that once welcomed ferries now greets only seabirds. The Queensland Government is threatening a use it or lose it approach for island leases, hoping to breathe life back into these faded gems. Locals say they'd just like to see Brampton alive again, maybe not with five-star glitz, but with people, laughter, and the sound of waves echoing through the palms. South Molla Island. Back in the day, South Molla Island was the friendly heart of the Whitsundays, a place where backpackers and families shared poolside drinks and the laughter carried over the coral sea. Today, that laughter has faded into the wind. When Cyclone Debbie tore through in 2017, she didn't just destroy buildings, she erased an era. The resort never reopened. What's left are cracked tennis courts, ghostly bungalows, and a pool filled with leaves instead of laughter. Bought by China Capital Investment Group in 2016, big redevelopment plans vanished after the storm. By 2023, the island was back on the market, and it's still waiting in 2025 for someone to give it new life. Yet all is not lost. Day trippers can still dock at the new jetty and wander the island's lush national park trails. Locals say it's hauntingly beautiful, nature slowly reclaiming what once was luxury. And maybe that's fitting. Until someone rebuilds, South Molla stands as both a ruin and a reminder of the paradise that once was. Hook Island Resort. Once a favourite among Whitsunday adventurers, Hook Island Lodge was a jewel off Airlie Beach, a hub for snorkelling enthusiasts and escape seekers alike. That sparkle dimmed in 2013 when Cyclone Anthony tore through, leaving the resort in ruins and its cabins abandoned to the tropical undergrowth. For more than a decade, the island sat silent, save for the whispers of the reef and the sway of untouched palms. In 2022, Glen Piper and Epical Hotels purchased the 25-year lease for over $10 million, signalling the first real chance of revival. Plans for a $20 million eco-resort promise 39 cabins, restaurant facilities, and capacity for 280 guests, blending sustainability with high-end comfort. Environmental care remains central, with over 12 consultants engaged to minimise impact and safeguard the surrounding coral. If approved, the resort is forecast to open by 2027, offering both overnight stays and day visits. Until then, Hook Island remains a hauntingly beautiful memory, a reminder of the luxury and adventure that once lured Aussies to this coral-dotted paradise. Dunk Island. Dunk Island, just off the coast of North Queensland near Mission Beach, has long been a symbol of sun-soaked holidays and tropical adventure. Once home to the iconic Dunk Island Resort, the island was devastated by Cyclone Yasi in 2011. Buildings crumbled, the airport was destroyed, and the resort closed, leaving the island largely forgotten except for daring day trippers. In 2022, billionaire Annie Cannonbrooks purchased the freehold for $24 million, setting in motion plans for a multi-million-dollar revival. A new beachfront restaurant and refurbished campground now welcome visitors, and guided tours and water taxis make the island accessible once more. Trails into the lush rainforest and a circuit around Mount Cataloo offer walking experiences for adventurous explorers, while Muggy Muggy Beach provides a quick scenic escape. Though the full resort rebuild is still years away, Dunk Island is slowly returning to life. Swimming, hiking, and snorkeling draw day visitors, and the island's renewed accessibility hints at a brighter future. Once a forgotten gem, Dunk Island is now poised to reclaim its place on Queensland's map of unforgettable seaside escapes. Pajinka Wilderness Lodge. At the very tip of Cape York, the Pajinka Wilderness Lodge stands as a haunting reminder of Australia's adventurous tourism past. Originally opened in 1986 by Bush Pilot Airways, it changed hands several times before the Ingenuity Aboriginal Cooperation took over in 1992, renaming it the Pajinka Wilderness Lodge. Once a remote getaway for intrepid travellers seeking the thrill of the northernmost point of the continent, the lodge closed in 2002 after fire damage during planned renovations. For more than 2 decades, the buildings have remained derelict, their empty shells a playground for explorers and photographers. Visitors trekking the famous Cape York track often stumble across the crumbling pool, the graffitied al fresco bar, and the skeletal remains of cabins, snapping photos and sharing them online. The lodge's isolation, perched between the wild coast and untamed bushland, adds an eerie charm that both fascinates and unnerves. Though no redevelopment has been planned, Pajinka Wilderness Lodge continues to attract curiosity seekers, serving as a ghostly waypoint on Australia's northern frontier. It reminds Aussies that sometimes the thrill of discovery lies not in luxury resorts, but in the stories whispered by abandoned walls. Laguna Quays. Just north of Airlie Beach lies Laguna Quays, a resort that once promised luxury and leisure along Queensland's sparkling coastline. Opening in 1992 with grand fanfare, it boasted a Greg Norman-designed golf course and villas set among meticulously landscaped gardens. It was a destination that seemed destined for fame, drawing holidaymakers hoping for sun, surf and sophistication. Yet despite its promising start, Laguna Quays was short-lived. Only 3 years after opening, the resort succumbed to bankruptcy, leaving empty villas and a silent golf course in its wake. In the following decades, a Hong Kong-based company purchased the property, yet redevelopment plans never materialised. Today, the estate remains largely abandoned, a ghostly echo of its brief heyday. Part of the resort's struggle may have been its location. Repulse Bar, near Midge Point, lacked the charm to compete with nearby Whitsundays hotspots. Visitors passing through might glimpse remnants of swimming pools, rusting golf carts and overgrown gardens, imagining the resort's former glamour. Laguna Quays serves as a reminder that not all dreams by the sea survive, but the allure of what could have been lingers. Capricorn Resort. Back in the 1980s, when Queensland's tourism industry was still in its infancy, the wealthy Iwasaki family from Japan brought a touch of international glamour to the Capricorn coast. Their Capricorn Resort was one of Australia's first fully integrated resorts, offering hundreds of suites, 2 golf courses, and what were then the largest pools in the Southern Hemisphere. It quickly became a magnet for overseas visitors and a showcase of luxury on the Sunshine State's shores. For years, the resort thrived under the management of Ridges and later Accor Mercure, blending golf, spa, and family-friendly experiences. But by 2016, cracks were showing. Visitors complained of aging facilities, outdated decor, and general disrepair. Mercure closed its doors, leaving the sprawling complex abandoned and slowly falling into decay. Today, Capricorn Resort stands as a shadow of its former self. Empty pools, overgrown gardens and silent hallways hint at past grandeur. The Iwasaki family still owns the property and maintains that redevelopment is under consideration. But for now, it remains a poignant reminder that even the most ambitious seaside dreams can fade with time. Ceduna. Nestled on the shores of Murat Bay in South Australia, Ceduna has long been a tranquil retreat for beach lovers and fishing enthusiasts. Its name, derived from the local Wirangu word, meaning a place to sit down and rest, perfectly captures the slow-paced charm of this coastal town. Once a hub for whaling and later for railway and port activity, Ceduna grew into a service centre for surrounding Aboriginal communities and travellers crossing the Nullarbor Plain. Tourists now flock to Ceduna for its pristine beaches, Norfolk Island pine-lined foreshore and the iconic Ceduna jetty, ideal for fishing, walking and boating. The annual Oyster Fest is a highlight, drawing thousands to celebrate the region's thriving oyster industry with live music, gourmet dinners and fireworks. Ceduna is also a hub for scientific research, including radio astronomy and southern bluefin tuna studies, making it a unique blend of natural beauty and intellectual curiosity. Despite its quiet reputation today, Ceduna offers a rich mix of culture, history and coastal adventure. For those seeking a low-key getaway away from crowded resorts, Ceduna remains a hidden gem where the past and present meet along the rugged South Australian coastline. Seabird. Tucked along Western Australia's coast between Two Rocks and Lancelin, Seabird is a small town with sweeping views of the Indian Ocean. Originally a collection of rock lobster fishermen's shacks in the 1950s, the area was briefly gazetted as Chalon in 1965, only to be renamed Seabird 3 years later. The name honours a schooner, Seabird, which famously shipwrecked nearby in 1874. Seabird became a charming spot for holidaymakers and retirees seeking quiet beachside living. But its idyllic location on fragile foredunes came at a cost. Severe coastal erosion has repeatedly threatened homes and roads. In the 1970s, a government report warned against further development, and by the late 20th century, parts of Turner Street had collapsed into the ocean. Community efforts finally led to a $2 million sea wall in 2016, reinforced by thousands of native seedlings to stabilise the dunes. Today, Seabird is a mix of relaxed holiday vibes and environmental caution. Visitors come for its tranquil beaches, sweeping ocean views, and a sense of history woven into the town's modest streets. For those chasing a quiet coastal escape, Seabird remains a hidden, windswept gem where nature and community coexist. From deserted pools to crumbling jetties, these once thriving resorts tell stories of a different era in Australian holidaying. While some islands and coastal towns await revival, others quietly fade into memory. They remind us that even paradise can change, and that the places we once cherished are not always guaranteed to last. For those curious about Australia's hidden history, these 13 seaside resorts offer a glimpse into the golden days that are rarely experienced today.